Let me tell you about a woman who was supposed to die. In 1963, she was 36 years old, living in Los Angeles. 4 doctors examined her, 4 separate diagnoses. All 4 said the same thing: 18 months. That is all she had left. She did not change her diet. She did not try experimental surgery. She did not fly to some clinic in Europe. What she did was something so simple that it sounds almost insulting. Every night before she fell asleep, she repeated one sentence to herself. The same sentence, over and over, for weeks, then months, then years. 22 years later, she died of old age, not cancer, not the disease that was supposed to kill her. Old age. Now, I am not telling you this story to make you believe in miracles. I am telling you this story because the man who documented it, Dr. Joseph Murphy, spent his entire life trying to understand one thing. What is the subconscious mind actually doing while you sleep? And the answer he found, backed by decades of observation and now confirmed by modern neuroscience, is the subject of a book that has sold over 1 million copies worldwide. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. If you watched our last episode on Think and Grow Rich, you already know Napoleon Hill's 13 Laws of Wealth. You know about desire, faith, autosuggestion, the mastermind, but Hill gave you the system, Murphy gives you the engine. The one mechanism that sits underneath all 13 of Hill's laws and makes every single one of them work. Your subconscious mind. And what you're about to learn in the next 30 minutes will change the way you think about your own brain forever. Not because it is motivational, because it is mechanical. Your subconscious is not mystical. It is not spiritual. Although Murphy sometimes frames it that way, it is a machine. A machine that runs 24 hours a day, processes 95% of your daily behavior, and takes every instruction you give it, without question, without judgment, and executes it. The problem is, most of you have been giving it the wrong instructions for your entire life, and you did not even know you were doing it. That changes today. But I need the same commitment from you that I asked for last time. Do not skip ahead. Do not leave halfway. The most powerful technique in this entire episode is in the last 10 minutes, and the people who make it there are the people whose lives actually change. So let us begin with the most important question. What exactly is the subconscious mind? Murphy divides your mind into 2 parts: the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is the thinker. It reasons, it analyzes, it chooses. When you decide what to eat for lunch, that is your conscious mind. When you weigh the pros and cons of a job offer, that is your conscious mind. It is the captain of the ship. But here's the thing about captains. They do not run the engine room. Your subconscious mind is the engine room. It does not think. It does not reason. It does not argue. It simply accepts whatever the captain tells it, and it runs the program. If the captain says, "I am broke and I will always be broke," the subconscious does not say, "Well, actually, let me check the data on that." It says, "Understood," and it begins organizing your behavior, your energy, your attention, your decisions around the instruction. I am broke and I will always be broke. If the captain says, "I am building wealth and opportunities are everywhere," the subconscious says, "Understood," and it begins organizing everything around that instruction instead. It does not care which instruction is true, it only cares which instruction was given. Murphy compares it to soil. You can plant roses or you can plant poison. The soil does not judge. It grows whatever seed you put in it. And the seeds you have been planting are every thought you have ever repeated, every belief you have ever accepted, every fear you have ever fed with your attention. Now, this is not just philosophy. This is neuroscience, Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cell biologist at Stanford, spent years studying how beliefs affect biology at the cellular level. His research showed that cells do not respond to the external environment directly. They respond to your perception of the environment. Change the perception, and the cells change their behavior. Your beliefs are not just thoughts floating in your head. They are chemical signals that alter how your body functions. When you believe you are stressed, your body produces cortisol. When you believe you're safe, your body produces oxytocin. Same environment, different belief, completely different chemical reality inside your body. Murphy understood this decades before Lipton proved it in a lab. He just used different language. He called it the law of your mind. Whatever you impress upon your subconscious mind, your subconscious will express in your life. Impress poverty, and poverty shows up. Impress wealth, and wealth shows up. Impress sickness, and the body follows. Impress health, and the body follows. Not because of magic, because your subconscious controls the 95% of behavior that your conscious mind does not. And that 95% is what actually builds your life. So now the question becomes, how do you actually reprogram it? Murphy gives several techniques, and I'm going to walk you through the 5 most powerful ones. These are not motivational exercises. These are engineering instructions for your own brain. Technique number 1, the drowsy state method. This is Murphy's most famous technique, and there is a reason it works better than anything else. Every night, in the few minutes between being awake and falling asleep, your brain enters a state called the hypnagogic state. Your brain waves slow down from beta, which is your normal waking state, to alpha and then theta. In theta, the critical filter of your conscious mind, the part that argues and doubts and says that will never work, goes quiet. Your subconscious is wide open. Whatever thought you hold in that state goes directly in. No resistance, no filtering, no argument. Murphy says this is the single most important moment of your entire day. Not the morning, not your workout, not your meditation. The 5 minutes before you fall asleep. Because whatever you're thinking about in those 5 minutes is the instruction your subconscious will work on for the next 8 hours. If you fall asleep scrolling through bad news on your phone, that is the instruction. If you fall asleep arguing with someone in your head, that is the instruction. If you fall asleep worrying about money, that is the instruction. But if you fall asleep holding a vivid mental picture of the life you want, feeling the emotions of already having it, that becomes the instruction. And your subconscious will work on it all night, every single night. For as long as you keep giving it that instruction, the practical method is simple. Lie down, close your eyes, let your body relax completely, and in that drowsy state, repeat a single short phrase that captures your desired outcome. Not a paragraph, not a speech, one sentence. Murphy suggests phrases like, "Wealth and success are mine now," or "I am healthy, I am whole, I am strong," or "The right opportunity is coming to me now." Say it slowly. Feel it as though it has already happened. Let the feeling carry you into sleep. That is it, 5 minutes every night for 30 days. And watch what shifts. Technique number 2, the visualization method. This works on the same principle as the drowsy state, but you use images instead of words. Murphy tells the story of a young man who wanted to become a doctor but could not afford medical school. Every night before sleep, he visualized a diploma on the wall with his name on it. He saw himself in a white coat. He felt the weight of a stethoscope around his neck. He did this every night for months. Within a year, a series of events unfolded. A scholarship appeared, a mentor showed up, a path opened that led him to medical school. Now, the skeptic in you is saying, that is just coincidence. But remember what we learned in the Think and Grow Rich episode about the reticular activating system. Your brain filters 11 million bits of data per second down to about 50. The RAS selects which 50 based on what you focus on. When this young man visualized himself as a doctor every night, he was programming his RAS to notice opportunities related to medical school. The scholarship was probably always there. The mentor was probably always nearby. His brain was simply deleting those signals before because they did not match his old belief that he could not afford it. Visualization changed the filter, and the filter changed his reality. Dr. Dennis Waitley, the psychologist who trained Olympic athletes and Apollo astronauts, used this exact technique. He called it visual motor rehearsal. The athletes would visualize their performance in complete detail. The sounds, the feelings, the crowd, the finish line, and their brains would fire the same neural pathways as if they were physically performing. When they finally competed, their bodies already knew the way. Murphy was teaching the same thing in 1963 that NASA was using in the 1980s. Different vocabulary, same mechanism. Technique number 3, the thankful method. This one is deceptively simple and incredibly powerful. Murphy says that gratitude is the fastest way to impress a new belief onto the subconscious. Here is why. When you say, "I want more money," your subconscious hears the word want and it interprets want as lack. You want it because you do not have it. So the subconscious locks in the instruction, "I do not have it," and it keeps producing that reality. But when you say, "I am grateful for the wealth flowing into my life," the subconscious hears gratitude, which it interprets as possession. You are grateful because you already have it. Different emotion, different instruction, completely different result. This is not just Murphy talking. Researchers at the University of California, Davis, led by Dr. Robert Emmons, conducted studies showing that people who practiced daily gratitude experienced measurably better health, more optimism, and made more progress toward their goals than people who did not. Gratitude physically changes brain chemistry. It increases dopamine and serotonin, the same neurotransmitters targeted by antidepressant medication. Murphy would say, you're not just feeling thankful, you are reprogramming your mind at the chemical level. The practice is simple. Before sleep or first thing in the morning, say thank you for 3 specific things as if they have already happened. Thank you for my growing income. Thank you for the perfect opportunity that is coming to me. Thank you for my healthy, strong body. Say it with feeling, not as a checklist, as an experience. Technique number 4, the argument method. This is for the people who are struggling with a specific fear or negative belief that keeps coming back. Murphy says, when a negative thought enters your conscious mind, do not fight it. Do not resist it. Instead, argue with it. Present the counter evidence. Talk to it the way a lawyer would talk to a weak witness. For example, the fear says, you will never be successful. You respond, that is not true. I have already succeeded at learning new skills, building new habits, and improving my life, and every day I'm getting better. The fear says, you do not have enough money. You respond, I have always found a way to survive, and right now I'm learning the principles that will take me from surviving to thriving. The key here is not to suppress the negative thought. It is to overpower it with a more convincing argument. Your subconscious is listening to the debate, and it will side with whoever makes the stronger case. If the fear is louder and more emotional, the fear wins. If your counter-argument is louder and more emotional, you win. This is cognitive behavioral therapy before cognitive behavioral therapy existed. Dr. Aaron Beck, the founder of CBT, built an entire therapeutic framework around this exact principle in the 1960s. Challenge the distorted thought. Replace it with a realistic one. Repeat until the new thought becomes automatic. Murphy was doing this in his books years before Beck formalized it in clinical psychology. Technique number 5. The sleep method combined with action. Murphy is very clear about something that a lot of people miss. The subconscious is not a genie. You do not program it and then sit on your couch waiting for a check to arrive in the mail. You program it and then you act. The subconscious guides the action. It does not replace it. Think of it this way. A GPS tells you where to turn, but you still have to drive the car. If you program your subconscious with the belief that wealth is flowing to you, and then you sit in your house doing nothing, wealth is not going to knock on your door. But if you program that belief, and then you start building, start creating, start reaching out, start taking risks, the subconscious will guide your decisions in ways your conscious mind cannot predict. You will say yes to the right opportunity at the right time, without fully knowing why. You will avoid the wrong deal, the wrong partner, the wrong investment, because something inside you said no. That is your subconscious working. That is the GPS directing the car. But you have to drive. Now, there is a part of this book that I need to be honest with you about. Murphy uses a lot of religious and spiritual language. He talks about God, divine power, infinite intelligence, and the cosmic mind. If that language resonates with you, it will deepen the experience. If it does not, you can strip it away entirely, and the principles still work. Because underneath the spiritual framework, Murphy is describing a neurological and psychological process that has been validated by science again and again. The subconscious mind is real. Its ability to be programmed through repetition and emotion is real. The drowsy state as a window for suggestion is real. Visualization as a tool for neural rewiring is real. None of that requires you to believe in anything supernatural. It only requires you to believe in the machine between your ears. And that machine is more powerful than you have ever been told. There is also a critique worth acknowledging. Murphy's book sometimes implies that illness and poverty are entirely the result of wrong thinking. That is an oversimplification. Genetics, systemic inequality, random chance, and circumstances beyond your control all play a role in the life you're living right now. The subconscious mind is not the only variable, but it is the variable you have the most control over. And in a world full of things you cannot change, focusing on the one thing you can change, your own mental programming, is not naivety. It is strategy. So let us bring everything together. Murphy's core argument in one sentence is this: whatever you impress upon your subconscious mind with feeling and repetition, your subconscious will express in the conditions of your life. 5 techniques to do this. The drowsy state method, using the moments before sleep to plant a specific instruction. The visualization method, seeing the desired outcome in vivid detail until your brain cannot tell the difference between the imagined and the real. The thankful method, using gratitude to bypass the wanting state and signal possession. The argument method, debating your fears and replacing them with stronger evidence. And the combined method, programming the subconscious and then taking action, using the inner GPS to guide the outer journey. Now combine this with what you learned in Think and Grow Rich. Hill gave you the 13 laws of achievement. Murphy gives you the operating system that runs those laws. Desire, Hill's first law, is the instruction you feed your subconscious. Faith, Hill's second law, is the state your subconscious enters when it has accepted the instruction. Autosuggestion, Hill's third law, is Murphy's drowsy state technique by another name. Persistence, Hill's eighth law, is how you keep the instruction alive long enough for the subconscious to act on it. They are not 2 separate systems. They are the same system, described by 2 men who arrived at the same truth from different directions. Hill through interviews with the wealthy, Murphy through clinical observation and ancient philosophy. The same truth: your mind creates your reality, not metaphorically, mechanically. So here's your action for tonight. Same as last time. Before you sleep, lie down, close your eyes, and let your body go completely still. In that drowsy state, hold one image in your mind. Not a wish, a scene. See yourself living the life you're building. See the bank account, see the home. See the people around you who respect you. See yourself walking with confidence. Feel it, not as something you want, as something you have. Hold that image until sleep takes you. And tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you read the news, before you let anyone else's thoughts into your head, read the goal you wrote down after last week's episode. Out loud, with feeling. The drowsy state plants the seed. The morning repetition waters it, and the action you take during the day is the sunlight. Do this for 30 days, not 7, not 14, 30. Because that is how long it takes for a new neural pathway to become stronger than an old one. And when that happens, you will not need motivation anymore. Your subconscious will do the work for you. Not because you wished for it, because you programmed it. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years studying wealth. Dr. Joseph Murphy spent his entire career studying the engine underneath it. You just spent 30 minutes learning both. Now the question is the same question it has always been. Will you use it tonight? Or will you go to sleep the same way you went to sleep last night? With the same thoughts, the same fears, the same accidental programming, running the same life you have always had? If you made it to this point, I already know your answer. This has been Minds of Mastery. If something in this episode hit you, leave a comment telling me which technique you're going to try tonight. I read every single one. Subscribe if you want to keep building, because next week we are going into a book that most people think is about a movie. They are wrong. It is about the most controversial scientific principle in the history of self-development. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And we are going to separate the science from the nonsense, once and for all. I will see you there. Until then.